I'm going to show you how to use the grid method by taking a photo, gridding it out, putting a grid onto your canvas, and then making a copy. First, on my photo reference, I already have a grid on there. I did it in Photoshop, but you don't need to do it in Photoshop. You can go ahead and take a ruler and divide it in half and draw a thin line down there with a pencil or a white chalk or anything that you want that is thin. Thin is what you need to have it in. And then you can divide those again. So this is divided up into 4 by 4 rectangles. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, first of all, probably what's important is to have the photo reference cropped at the exact same ratio as your canvas. So this photo is in the ratio of an 11 by 14, and so is my canvas, is also 11 by 14. So if I were to blow this up, it would fit this canvas perfectly. If you don't have it at the same ratio, the grid method will not work. It'll be skewed or distorted. So I need to take my canvas and I need to divide it in half and then divide it into quarters. And the easiest way to do that is with some scrap paper. So I have 2 pieces of scrap paper here. One is 11 inches long and one of them is 14 inches long. And this is how I do it. It's pretty simple. I'll take the 11-inch long paper and I fold it exactly in half, get a good seam on there, and then I fold it in half again and get a really good seam on there. And then I open it up, and as you can see, I've already done this before. Right on the seams, I put a little dark line with my pencil. I can then line it up and make a little mark right there. Flip the canvas around. Get those marks on there. I did the same thing with the 14-inch, folded it over, and now I have some great little marks on my paper exactly spaced apart just right to give me 4 divisions. 3 marks giving me 4 divisions. Okay, there it is. I have my tick marks. Now there's 2 ways you can go with this. If you want to continue on with a pencil drawing, you can connect the pencil lines together with a ruler right here. Or you can also connect the lines or the tick marks together with oil paint, an oil paint wash. We do that in my beginning painting class. And the nice thing about that is as you start laying down your paint, those lines disappear really easy, whereas pencil lines tend to stay there a little bit longer, and sometimes they're hard to get rid of. So we're going to start with a wash, and then we are going to put down a drawing with a oil wash. Okay, I have my palette. And I'm going to put on there just a little burnt sienna. I don't need much. So I have my jar of paint thinner right here. I have a number 8 filbert brush. Just dip the brush in there. And these brushes are like sponges. Just dip it in there and I can put some thinner right on my pad just like this. Pull some burnt sienna into it. So it's mostly thinner. And we use this as a wash to get rid of the white of the canvas, and it will help us judge values better. I'm going to take my canvas out, and I'm going to begin to put a wash on here. Very lightly. I don't want to scrub over those pencil lines right there because I still need them. But once I get inside, I can move pretty fast. Okay, I have the wash down. And now what I want to do is soak up the thinner so I can start drawing on it right away. if I left the room for about a half hour, an hour or so, I wouldn't have to worry about this, and I can just let that evaporate, the thinner off of it evaporate. But I want to move a little quicker, so I'm going to take a paper towel, and I'm just going to carefully blot up all the thinner. Now, as I blot it up, the texture on the canvas is going to look pretty bad, but don't worry about it. We're going to smooth it out here in just a minute. I just want to get all that thinner off so I can start drawing on it. If I don't get the thinner off, you just can't draw on this canvas. It's not possible. Okay, I think I got all the thinner off. Now, very lightly, putting very little pressure on my paper towel, I'm just going to smooth it out. If I press too heavy, I'm just going to remove all that wash, and then it won't have the same effect. It'll get too light. There's a little blemish on my canvas right here, probably from the factory. Get rid of that. Okay, I'm just going to try to get a little bit more thinner off. It looks like it's pretty heavy. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now, at this point, I can wait about 5 minutes and then it's ready to draw on, or I can hit it with the blow dryer for 1 minute and it should be ready to go. I'm going to hit it with the blow dryer. Okay, I just hit it with the blow dryer. It took less than a minute, probably 30 seconds, and it's pretty dry now. So it's ready to be painted on, or actually, it's ready to draw on. I'm going to take a good drawing brush. I have this number 2 synthetic brush, which is going to be perfect. Okay, I'm going to make more wash to draw with, so I'm just going to take this little brush, grab a little bit of my burnt sienna. It might be just slightly darker than the wash. As long as I can draw a line and see it, I'm good. So now that I have that, I can take my ruler, place it right on those little pencil marks, and I can draw right across with this paint wash. Now you got to be really careful that you don't press hard on the brush. In fact, just let it touch and then pull the brush, and that'll keep all the thinner from going underneath the ruler. So touch, pull, got a nice line right there. Just let it touch, pull. Okay, wipe my ruler off, and I got a really good grid, and the lines are just dark enough that I see them. Okay, next I'm going to take my photo reference, and of course it already has the grid on it. Okay, now I'm going to start drawing this down. The best thing to do is start with the simplest lines that are the easiest to achieve. And so I'm looking around the head, and it looks like the neck starts coming out about 1/4 of the way on this particular grid. So this is halfway, this is a fourth, so that's where the neck begins. The top of the head is about 1/3 of the way up. I'll do a little mark 1/3 of the way up. The beak looks like it is a little under 1/4 of the way, maybe right about there. And then back to the neck again, which looks like it's about 2/3 of the way. So I'm taking guesses on here. And then I'm going to go all around the bird, plotting out little lines, and then I'm going to connect the dots. Okay, I've gone around and I think I've made as many marks as I can for now. And this should give me a really good outline of the bird. Not a lot of inside detail yet, but if I can get this looking good, then it's going to make it very easy to do some of those inside lines. So now I'm going to start connecting them. Okay, I'm going back over some of these lines and just getting them a little bit darker so I can see what's going on. Now, normally I would have this up on an easel and I'd be able to step back and look at it and see how it compares with the photograph. But for the cameras, I want it to do it this way. But if you're at home, you're on your easel, step back, close one eye, squint the other eye, kind of look at the photo reference, and then look at your drawing, and it's going to help you figure out shapes. Down here around the claws is going to be very difficult. The detail is pretty small, and so I'm just going to keep it simple for now, and I'll have to paint it in later. I think knowing where that wood is going to be very helpful to where to figure out where all the claws are going to be. So that's wood, that's wood. It does get very confusing down here. The claws and the wood are intertwined. The claws on the end of the feet I am not going to put in yet. I'm going to do that in the painting process because it's going to be easier that way. As you get into the painting and you start blocking out, little details like that get wiped out anyway, so at this point it's not really worth it to put them in. Okay, let's see, I have the eye position pretty good. Now that I have the outside perimeter pretty much done, I'm going to be able to see and judge easier where the inside feathers should be. So let's see, there's a little tick mark there, up in here. Over there, it's very dark underneath. I only want to do just enough detail to help me start with a very accurate boundary of the bird. And then as far as all little details, I'll do in the painting process. I'm not trying to make a perfect match to the bird. I'm trying to get close enough that it's a beautiful painting and it was fun to paint. And I think that's it. That could be all that I need. And that is putting down a drawing with an oil wash and a grid.